Hello dear friends. In the previous session, we explained the first MACD output, named MACD line. Now, let's move on to another output of the MACD function, namely MACD signal. Well, what does this parameter mean? The answer is that MACD signal is actually the result of reapplying the EMA on MACD line. Therefore, here the other input of the MACD function, namely signal length, shows its importance. If you remember, the third input of the MACD function was the signal length, which is 9 in this case. In fact, here we will take a 9-period moving average from the MACD line itself and store it in the MACD signal. Well, don't forget to execute this command first to calculate the MACD signal. Next, to clarify the subject, here we will plot MACD line and MACD signal. For the first plot, we choose the color green and consider the label equal to MACD line. For the second plot, we will also plot the MACD signal variable with the appropriate label and color. We consider the label of this plot equal to MACD signal and its color equal to red. Well, then we call the legend and show functions from the PLT and matplotlib library. To prevent horizontal axis clutter, we use the sticks function again with a 45-degree rotation. Great. As you can see in this plot, the variables MACD line and MACD signal are plotted. It is reminded again that MACD line is the difference between fast and slow moving averages. In fact, in this figure, MACD line represents the difference between the green line, i.e. moving average 12, and the red line, i.e. moving average 26. Actually, the MACD line variable evaluates short-term price movements relative to longer-term movements. Now, to smooth and filter out MACD line fluctuations, this time we take another self-moving average. Now, we name this new moving average MACD signal, which is represented by the red color. Now, we have defined the two output columns of the MACD function for understanding the calculation. In fact, MACD line and MACD signal are the first and third columns of the MACD function output, respectively. What remains is the most important output of MACD, which is the histogram, equal to the difference between MACD line and signal. Well, with the MACD histogram, we have calculated all the relevant MACD items. Great. Here I define a variable called MACD histogram. So here we consider this variable equal to the difference between MACD line and MACD signal. Now, to clarify the subject, here we need to plot the MACD histogram. For this purpose, here I copy the plot display commands and modify the code as follows. Well, for this purpose, here I modify the label and place the MACD histogram as the input for the plot function. Great. With the modification of the plot code, I execute it. By doing this, the plot is drawn for us. Well, here I must remind you that the expertise of Python lies in simplifying tasks. In fact, instead of me doing this high volume of work, with the Pandas TA library, I can calculate MACD more quickly. As mentioned at the previous session, we can call the MACD function from the Pandas TA library. Again, by typing PTA and the MACD function, we recall that there are 4 inputs for this function. The first input is the closing price, and the next inputs are the lengths of fast, slow, and signal. Here we save the calculated values in a variable named MACD and print it. As seen, with just one line of code and without the need for additional moving average and operations, MACD values have been calculated. Now, here, the second column of the function output, namely MACD histogram, is displayed for us. Now, with a simple and quick calculation of MACD, I can plot each of these columns. Pay attention here with the typed code, the MACD histogram is plotted again. Now we have grasped what the MACD variable is and how we can quickly calculate it. Well, with this knowledge, the main question is, what are the uses of this indicator? If we want to answer this question, we need to draw more comprehensive charts. Before drawing the charts, here we make a brief reference that the basis of this strategy is the crossover of the histogram and the zero line. But again, let's be reminded that don't commit to any indicator without comprehensive testing by yourself. Well, here, using the subplots of the Matplotlib library, we are going to draw two charts side by side. With these comments, we inform Python that we have a total of two charts. The first number inside the parentheses is the number of charts, the second number is the row, and the third number is the column of the charts. Here, for the second chart, we plot the values of the MACD histogram. And for the first or upper chart, here we consider the closing price values. Dear friends, please pay attention to the details of drawing charts such as labels, horizontal axis arrangement, and other considerations. Well, I execute it. In order to avoid cluttering of numbers on the horizontal axis, we again use a 45-degree rotation. Okay, now we need to adjust the distance between the charts with the tight layout function as mentioned before. In fact, with this function, we prevent the charts from overlapping each other. Great. As you can see, these two charts have been drawn for us. Now, what greatly helps us is drawing the zero line on the second chart using the AXH line function. Here, the first input of the AXH line function is the number 0, and the second input indicating the color of the chart is red. After running, our analysis tool is ready. Let's delve into the histogram and zero line relationship in the strategy. Following the strategy, a buy signal occurs with the histogram crossing up, but not all buy signals are profitable. Testing various inputs, fast, slow, and signal, is crucial for optimizing the strategy and finding the most effective combination. Cautiously, a top crossover may not be a favorable buying position, leading to possible exits without profit, even with a stop loss. Conversely, here, this bottom crossover signals a selling opportunity, aligning with the strategy for potential profit. Notably, many analysts only mention profitable trades, leaving losses unaddressed. Taking responsibility is crucial in strategy evaluation. Recognize the reality of the strategy by becoming your analysts. Utilize tools like Python, experimenting with different parameters. Experiment with various parameters like different MACD indicator lengths for a deeper understanding of the strategy and self-analysis. Be your own analyst.